For many years, screenwriters and directors from all over the world have given us countless versions of the masked vigilante. Tim Burton, for example, has presented us a fearless and comic book Batman. And what about Christopher Nolan? Through his famous trilogy, he offered a more realistic and introspective interpretation of Batman. These are only two of the myriads of representations we could choose from throughout the entire history of cinematic representations. Therefore, it seems nearly impossible to believe that there's still something to talk about with this character. However, the director, Matt Reeves, has introduced an even further version, showing a Batman that no one expected, not even the most passionate fandom. We see a particularly fragile Bruce Wayne with a constant lost in the void gaze. In this movie, more than ever, you can see the difference between the persona of Bruce Wayne and the character he plays as Batman. We watch a young and still very immature Batman trying to hide his internal torment in every way, without even really succeeding, although his mask seems to be the only thing that gives him the strength to go on. We can perceive the protagonist is not yet ready to feel those clothes as part of him. The need for vengeance continually torments him, and unfortunately, no matter how hard he tries, those glassy, dull eyes still glimpse the world through his mask's narrow holes. However, we can also admire his great investigative acumen and his ability to stand up to the creepy Riddler, an antagonist capable of giving the creeps to anyone who looks at him, especially when he takes off his mask. This movie seems to constantly highlight the difference between what's above and below the surface of the mask, therefore between the costume and the characters' lives, a constant tug of war between wills. And, in fact, the shrewd madness of the villain is able to strike the most fragile chords of the protagonist's heart, beyond his mask. Bruce comes to discover new things about his parents that he could have never imagined, and his eyes go from expressionless to eyes that flash bewilderment. His ironclad morals begin to wobble, and the sharp memories of an upstanding family suddenly becomes blurred, leaving him even more alone and helpless. He begins to question why, and more importantly, who have I been fighting for so far? How many times have we felt a kinship to Bruce with questioning ourselves? How many times do we completely lose sight of the purpose behind our behavior? How many times have we realized that what made us feel emotionally solid was mostly an idea we had built up in our minds? What we sometimes don't realize is that in addition to our ideas, we also build up our personal story day after day, a story that we color with personal meanings, as if we become the director and screenwriter of an extremely intimate and autobiographical movie. The problem is that at times, as we go on writing the script, we get caught up in it, forgetting that, just as what happened to Batman, there can be other voices telling the same story with a different spin. In our darkest moments, we cling to our self-created narrative, not taking into account the fact other points of view may enrich our current vision and, above all, give us a perspective we were not aware of. It may seem simple, but it is not. This requires us to open up to other points of view and narratives, accepting and interpreting new opinions, even the ones may not necessarily agree with. When you have the script of your life in front of you, it is difficult to question all those already written pages. Indeed, those chapters should not be deleted at all. If anything, they should be enriched. All the directors of the Batman movie started from the tragedy that little Bruce had to face, but each one then took their own direction. Someone chose to focus on Batman's strength, whereas in this latest version, Reeves decided to privilege his dramas and his investigative skills. The butler, Alfred, tried to comfort the protagonist, telling him, "We all have scars." Somehow, Bruce manages to expand his outlook, evolving and becoming a changed and more mature Batman. Similarly, in the moments of our greatest difficulties, it is possible to rewrite our story, introducing new perspectives that can help us to cope with suffering while remaining true to ourselves. Exactly like Bruce Wayne, we just need to find the courage to shift our gaze, and when we are ready, just pick up a pen and start writing again. Thank you for listening. My name is Silvia Vitello, and this is Psyche. For these and other episodes, please check out my official website www.psycheofficialpage.com. Also, for any information, please send an email to teampsyche@gmail.com.